Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining the Wellness Trinity podcast. I'm Dr. Jacqueline, naturopathic doctor and owner of the Wellness Trinity, where we provide natural solutions for modern day wellness. Just a little disclaimer before we get started, what we discuss on this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. What you do with the information is to be used at your discretion, as the recommendations are not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any diseases. So today I have a special guest. Her name is Maryanne Klingenberg, and I have met her through networking in Las Vegas, and she is a part of my Las Vegas Wellness Mastermind. And I'm so happy to have her there because she does nutritional microscopy just like I do, which is awesome because we can discuss different signs we see and figure out solutions together as a team. So before I get started, I just want to let you know a little bit about her. She has a special interest in natural healing because she started in natural health care when she was seeking solutions for her eldest child's learning issues. This desire for a more holistic approach deepened as an owner in a home care agency with seeing firsthand the effects of medications, poor diet, and health care in the elderly. Maryanne is a firm believer that our life experiences bring us to where we are. Today, Maryanne's passion is empowering clients by showing them their nutritional health on a cellular level. She is trained in light field microscopy. Educating and creating awareness plays a large part in her business. See my cells. She works with individuals and practitioners, as well as offers free digestive health and cellular nutrition seminars for organizations, businesses, and groups in the Las Vegas area. Maryanne, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dr. Jacqueline, thanks for having me. Yeah, I love networking with you and, like you said, kind of discussing conditions and such and helping each other out.
Yeah. I think that, for all those practitioners listening to this show, that we need each other. Nobody knows it all. And if we think we do, then I think that you're worse off if you think you do. So it's good to be humble and learn from each other. So why don't you share a little bit about your story, fill in any of the gaps I might have missed in your bio.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Our daughter actually just turned 25, the one who had the learning, disabilities. And you know how it is as a parent. We recognize things, we're trying to find, solutions for our child, that sort of thing. And of course, I'd like to do that as naturally as possible. So it actually took a number of years and a lot of asking, a lot of time, a lot of research. And turned out she ended up being diagnosed with auditory processing disorder and visual processing disorder, but not until she was entering high school. So it was, just like I said, years of doing what you have to do, as a parent to get it figured out. Anyway, good news is I found some great therapies that totally did a 180 for her. So that's a beautiful thing. And she's, very successful in what she does now. So happy to report that. Also along the line, of course, started looking more into natural approach for our whole family. And like you mentioned, I was also an owner in a home care agency. So again, saw the effects of all the meds, poor diets, poor health care and seniors, and just opened my eyes more and more. But honestly, for myself, my nutritional shift began when I got to see my own blood live through nutritional microscopy. And then I realized what I was putting in my mouth, was doing for me on a cellular level, and knew I had to make a shift, and was just so empowered by it that, I went on to do multiple trainings in it and such. And like you said, that's where my passion lies today and is what I do.
Yeah, no, I totally am with you on that. The reason why I do it as well is because when I first saw my blood cells, I was blown away. I thought I was being healthy and maybe I was healthier than most people around me, but there was digging that still needed to be done. And I think it's just such an amazing tool to be able to just really get a snapshot of, oh, this is what's going on right now in your body, and this is why you need to make changes.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that word you use too, tool. I just consider it a nutritional assessment tool. As you know, here in the US, nutrition microscopy is not a diagnostic tool. It is a nutritional assessment tool, but I really believe it's such a, great another piece to our health puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. And so much can be done just by using that tool as well too. I like that word too, now that you said it. Yeah. So why don't you explain
together?
Yeah. So why don't you explain what is nutritional microscopy for those people that don't know what it is?
Yeah, again, it's an assessment tool where we can see what's going on a cellular level. Cellular meaning the blood. Sometimes, people we hear that word cellular thrown around, but we're not really sure what it refers to. It's red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and plasma. So we're looking at the here and now through one drop of blood that's, from the capillary level. The capillary level, of course, is where the oxygen and nutrients are delivered, where the toxins and chemicals are, carbon dioxide are picked up and taken out. So by looking at a small sample from that level, of course, we see things in the way of digestion, chronic indigestion, immunity, bacteria, fungus, nutrient levels, and again, gives us that, great place and visual for the client to see, to hopefully give them that picture of what's going on and to enlighten and empower them to take the next right step in their own nutritional health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that word, empower. I feel like that's exactly what this tool does, is it empowers us to first be able to see what's going on. It's easy to do other tests and think, well, maybe there's a mistake, or I don't know about this because maybe this is not what they say it is. But you cannot deny that when you see what a real like a healthy blood cell should look like, or sample, I should say, versus what most people tend to look like.
Yes.
So on that note, why don't you explain, what does healthy blood look like under the microscope?
Yeah, well, that makes it easy because, of course, I have apparel on today that looks like nice, healthy blood cells. It is interesting. I don't know, as I'm walking and see something on the sidewalk, maybe an oil stain or what have you, I see blood condition. And of course, a lot of my clothing or jewelry looks like blood conditions. So you are people. All these round, dark cells, red cells in particular, right? They're what actually delivers the oxygen and nutrients and picks up those carbon dioxide and toxins and takes them out. Should be nice and round and individual. Dark in the center, meaning filled with hemoglobin for oxygen delivery. And of course, the plasma, the liquid that all these cells float around in, needs to be nice and clear so that we don't have blockages and backups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And why is it important to have that blood look like that?
Oh, yeah, because, again, speaking for the red cells in particular, they deliver those oxygen and nutrients to all the systems in our body. So basically, I tell people, if you want all the systems in your body, of course, think of, some of the systems: circulatory, endocrine, immune, exocrine, muscular, skeletal, digestive, and, a few others that I've left out there. But if you want all those systems working efficiently, then you need to have healthy blood delivering the nutrients and oxygen to all those systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know that at some point you were explaining that it's good for performance and recovery for athletes too.
Oh, yeah. Great points. I'll say, if you want good performance, good recovery, energy, mental clarity, improved mood, you get this from healthy blood. And I do work with a lot of athletes, and as you know, they're trying to put a lot of protein and this and that in their bodies, usually working with nutritionists. The ones I work with do eat really clean.
So what are the 6 keys to health, Maryanne?
Yeah, that's one of the things I like to go over in one of my nutrition seminars. And I just really have it broken down to enzymes, probiotics, nutrients, oxygen, water, and waste removal. And we could just look at each, one of those.
Okay, so tell me about enzymes a little bit more and how those affect the body.
So enzymes, of course, specifically are our digestive food enzymes. So what I really want people to understand about that is we have to have these to break our foods down to make those nutrients bioavailable for absorption. Of course, they're found in raw foods, right? Mother Nature's created our foods with everything it needs to work for us. And then once we cook it, our body's super smart and has the pancreas organ that stores those digestive enzymes to help break the cooked foods down. But of course, we have a problem once our pancreas starts to get tired and taxed out and doesn't have the enzymes to give anymore. Then we start experiencing things like indigestion, food intolerances, sensitivities, those sorts of things.
Okay, so as far as I know too with enzymes, that if we take supplemental enzymes and enzymes in our food with the raw foods, then it's going to take some stress off of the pancreas.
Amen. Yes. Yeah. Really, about 35 years into our lives, our pancreas is starting to get taxed out. And of course, that's when most people do start to notice those indigestion issues, etc. And yeah, a nice plant-based enzyme supplement can definitely help with that load. So I just recommend, honestly, I even have my 16-year-old son take enzyme supplementation because, of course, our bodies are getting a lot of cooked foods, processed foods, preserved foods, etc., that it really wasn't designed to have coming in. And therefore, yeah, we can, aid that pancreas along and extend its life a little longer if we can use the supplement enzymes.
So what system takes the most energy?
Oh, yeah, our digestive system. Yeah, out of all the 10 systems in our body, I often say if our digestive system is not working efficiently, then you're not working efficiently. 80%, that's the amount of energy the digestive system takes. That's the case, that only allows or leaves 20% energy for all those other systems in our body. And of course, again, most people aren't digesting effectively. And then the digestive system needs more energy. So it has to start robbing energy from those other systems. And we break down, end up with breakdowns in those systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's no wonder why we have hormonal challenges and I shouldn't say that word, joint inflammation. And
All of
things
the
like that.
above.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, people eat more raw, supplement with base enzymes when you're eating cooked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So how do probiotics play a role in all of this?
Yeah, I call that kind of the other side of the digestion coin, really, because the enzymes break our foods down, but the probiotics are what absorb the nutrients. I think everybody in this day and age probably knows that probiotics are the good bacteria in us, and its job is to absorb the nutrients. Also, of course, absorb, grow, proliferate other good bacteria. And I like to break down the word probiotics, right? When we're for something, we're pro. Probiotics means life. So for life, we have to have these good bacteria. Their job is to also fight off the bad. And of course, we see effects of that in the blood samples when they're having trouble fighting off the bad, and obviously with digestion issues as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how is our probiotics related to yeast overgrowth?
Again, if I see that in their sample, then they're having trouble fighting off the bad, right? And in my mind, the first line of defense and immunity is always probiotics. Again, the good bacteria. We have to have this in us. Trillions of good bacteria in us. But the problem is so many things are killing it off. Antibiotics, right? We know that, prescription antibiotics are, one way to kill off all the good bacteria. But what I think people may not be aware of is 80% of the antibiotics we're getting is coming from our meats and dairy, the foods, that are injected with. So most of us are walking around 24/7 on antibiotics and aren't even aware. Not to mention, of course, all the other acidic things coming into our body, whether it's, prescription, chemically made meds, chemically made supplements too, coffee, antacids, all those things that kill it off. And then again, we're going to start to see that yeast, fungus, etc., rearing its head.
Yeah. Really. And we can see this in the sample in a live, or what is the term that you like to call this?
Yeah, I call it nutrition microscopy. So yeah, again, just looking at the effects of all these things on the cellular level.
So when you're looking at the blood under the microscope, you could see the yeast and the fungus and all kinds of other things.
Right.
And then the white blood cells. So when the immune system's compromised because we don't have enough probiotics and too much of the bad bacteria and yeast and fungus are proliferating, you're going to see more white blood cells too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If we're seeing an elevated, white count, again, we don't use this as a diagnostic tool, but we're seeing what's going on. And I'm, asking the client, how are you feeling? Are you fighting off something? Do you have a sore throat? Have you been sick? And just, again, kind of giving them that glimpse into what it looks like on the cellular level to empower them to make, some changes. And one of those obviously might be to simply add foods rich in probiotics or probiotic supplementation.
Okay. Yeah. And so what about nutrients? How do those play a role in our health?
Yeah, we've got to have them. Again, I think many people don't understand. In fact, one of my sayings is feed your cells well and you'll be well. Don't and you won't. So where do we get these nutrients from? And I always use the word foods loosely, right? Because of all the chemicals, etc., that are in our foods. But nutrients obviously can come from our foods, but also supplementation. So I say what we don't get in our diet, we must supplement with, but please only with supplements made from whole foods versus chemically, synthetically, artificially made nutrients and minerals. So yeah, and of course, again, we see it on the cellular level, right? In the sample on the nutritional microscopy.
Yeah. Any of my clients listening to this show know for sure that I'm all about those food-based supplements. It's, we were made to eat food, not a chemical, not I don't know what a lot of this stuff is nowadays. And most supplements are not made with food anymore. Or if they do have food, then there's XYZ added to it.
Yes. Yeah. Here's an interesting statistic. Again, I was an owner in a home care agency, so this is from the senior industry, but 80-plus-year-olds right now are the fastest growing population. And for the first time in history, their children are the first generation not expected to outlive their parents.
Oh.
And that is just mind-boggling to me. But if you think about it, of course, the 80-plus generation ate pretty much farm to table the first of their life. And of course, in the, mid to late 40s, 50s, along started coming all the packaged, processed, preserved foods. And now those baby boomers, again, are not expected to outlive their parents. So yeah. And again, we see the effects of this on the cellular level, all types of deficiencies.
Yeah. And oxidative stress being one of them too, when we don't have enough antioxidants. So why don't you expand on oxidative stress a little bit more?
Yeah. So oxidative stress can actually happen in several ways. Typically when we see it in the blood, Remember, I said the red cells should be nice like my shirt. But oxidative stress, we're going to start to see that cell wall compromised and get kind of wavy looking. And so I'm talking with the client and trying to figure out where they might be getting this from. Oftentimes it's radiation. Perhaps they've had dental x-rays or a mammogram, something like that can damage the cells. Athletes who are not getting good performance recovery, I'll see the oxidative stress in. And of course, just the nutrient deficiency of antioxidants. And antioxidants are what can heal and repair those cells, when they look like that. So if you are going to have x-rays, people, and, try to avoid them depending on your philosophy on it, for as long as you can. Obviously, if it's warranted and you need to do it, I do have them periodically. But make sure you're boosting your system with antioxidants before and after.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't we expand a little bit more on oxygen?
Oxygen, yeah, that's one of my other keys to health, right? So again, nice healthy cells like this, dark in the center, are filled with hemoglobin. That's what delivers oxygen. And most people can tell you that anemia or anemic people need iron. And it does take iron assimilation to get those cells filled with hemoglobin. B12 and folate, of course, can fall in there as well. But going back to our foods, Dr. Jacqueline, as you know, they're just not as nutrient dense, as they once were. And depending on what, doctors you read or what have you, anywhere from 10 cups to 75 cups of spinach is what it takes today to equal the nutritional value of 1 cup from 40 years ago.
Wow.
And it is mind-boggling. I don't know if you experience this too, but how many people I do see with those target cells, those podocytes, lacking the hemoglobin, even and they're often surprised if you tell them, oh, it looks like you could use some iron assimilation. They always relate that to women, but guys, you need it too.
Yeah, well, if we think about it too, everybody, or I shouldn't say everybody, but I would say a good chunk of people that I do their consultations, they have low energy, or it's not where it should be. No one gives me a 10. I've never got a 10 out of 10. It's, either 7 at the highest maybe, but usually around 5 or even lower possibly out of 10 that they're feeling in terms of energy. And well, what are some of the things that affect our energy? Iron, B vitamins, and how often do you see anisocytosis, where the cells are different sizes, and that's another sign of lacking B vitamins and iron.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I love that you brought up, the conditions of things they might be able to feel, because of course we're talking more kind of the scientific stuff of it. But yeah, it really boils down to how you're feeling. Again, when we see those cells with that missing hemoglobin, that discussion's so easy, to have with the client. Hey, it looks like you're feeling tired, lethargic, dragging. Oh yeah. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this, honestly, is that all of this can be fixed. You just need to have that visual to see where you need to fill in the gaps, really, and start to laser beam, target, and focus on it.
Exactly. Yeah, I call it customized detoxification or rebalancing, because we have toxins, we got deficiencies, and we need to not take a shot in the dark and just take whatever type of supplement because the mass media says, oh, everybody needs this, it's the greatest thing on earth. But what is a person's body lacking specifically? And yeah, some of these things might be a huge amount of people might need this, but at the same time, the person that doesn't need it, they shouldn't be taking that either.
True that. Yes. Yeah. This, the science of the nutrition microscopy definitely helps take some of the guesswork out of it.
Yeah. So water is the next thing that was on your list. Tell us a little bit about water. And, I'd love for you to explain the test that you do with the water and when you see people's cells.
Yeah, so typically I do want a client to come in having not eaten for several hours. So if they do have a digestive issue, we can, truly see that it is digestive. But I also want them to come having drink water, because our cells are 94% water. Keep a bottle of water by the bed, people. Get your cells hydrated, get your brain synapses going. Again, major problem that I saw in the senior industry with the home care agency. But so if I do someone's sample, put it on my microscope, show it to them live on the TV, monitor, and their cells are all stuck together, I'll immediately ask them, have you been drinking water? Well, yeah, I had a glass this morning. Oh, well, yeah, it's going to take more than that. But I love that visual I can give them, because they see the cells all stuck together. And I'm, pointing out that your heart is having to work really hard to pump these through. These cells that are stuck together cannot deliver their oxygen and nutrients well. And of course, I hand them a bottle of water and say, drink up. And then we'll redo their sample and, put the new drop of blood on the microscope, and then they see the difference. The cells then be all separated if it was truly a dehydration problem. And of course, even after that, they're already feeling better, right? Because their cells are moving and able to do what they need to do. So I typically just recommend that they drink half their weight in ounces of water a day. Of course, we live in Las Vegas. Dessert, they need more. But yeah, drink your water, people. Your cells are primarily water.
Definitely. Yeah. And then the last thing on your list was waste removal. So how does that play a role in people's health?
Yeah, basically I describe the body's blood like your car's oil filter, or your car's oil, I should say. So everybody gets their oil changed in their car. Why? Because if we don't, it's not running as efficiently, right? And then 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 miles go by, you don't get an oil change and filter change, your car's not running so efficiently, because that dirty oil cannot filter through the oil filter any longer, and it's backing up, and that dirty oil is trying to fuel the systems of your engine. Same thing with our body. Our blood is, of course, what we've talked about a couple times already, delivering oxygen and nutrients to all the systems, as well as picking up the carbon dioxide and toxins. So our body's filtering systems are our liver and kidneys. We need to keep them clean. When's the last time you did a liver or kidney cleanse, right? We those filtering systems working well, so our blood can be clean in it's doing its delivery and exchange job. So, of course, we see effects of it in the sample at their nutrition microscopy session, and can see indicators if they're having backups in those arenas. And like what you were talking about early, how does it affect them? How are they feeling, right? So we want to get it cleaned up to help maximize their performance.
Yeah, and uric acid crystals are related to this waste removal too. People are not removing waste properly, they can build up uric acid crystals. So why don't you explain how that is related and the type of pain or what they would feel as a result?
Yeah, so really what I want everybody to know is your body naturally makes uric acid crystals, but your kidney should filter them out. Typically when people hear uric acid crystals, they'll immediately think of gout, maybe arthritis, because they are actual crystals in our blood and they do get in the joints and cause pain. People might associate them with kidney stones as well. And what I really want people to know is how these uric acids grow and get big and out of hand and start becoming problems in our body. And it's really a high animal protein diet. Eat more, eat more greens. Also, meds, toxins, chemicals, packaged, processed, preserved foods. I think we really underestimate where we get all these chemicals and things from. Encouraging them, if they do eat animal products, of course, Maybe try to reduce those, but definitely buy antibiotic-free and hormone-free. Try to steer away from as many of the additives and chemicals that we can. And here's a huge one. Stress also plays a role in the uric acid crystals. So that can definitely cause them to grow. Oh my goodness. Do you guys know anyone who is not under stress in some form or another?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that will be another podcast for another day.
Exactly.
Actually, it will be several of them. That is definitely one topic I like to talk about a lot, being that I've gone through severe stress in my life. But no, I completely am with you on that. And stress affects our body. Not eating the right food is a form of stress. Not drinking enough water is a form of stress. So stress can be on several different levels. But yeah, that's a great point that you touch on that.
And I think it's good that we explain that to people. I tell them, I want to remind you, stress can be physical, it can be emotional, and like you just said, it can be the foods we eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why don't you tell the listeners where they can find you if they are looking for a consultation or have any questions?
Yeah, if you are in the Las Vegas area, I do have people all over the country who say, oh, can I just mail you a drop of my blood and you put it on the microscope and look at it? We cannot, because it only lives about 30 minutes and then it just starts turning into a whole manifestation of other things. But if you're in the Las Vegas area, you can just call me directly at 702-379-6070. As well, you can find me on Facebook. Just search See My Cells, SEEMY, cells as in blood cells, and you can request to join the group. I just give daily tips, recipes, information on there. And it is a closed group, so you do need to request to join. If you're interested in a whole food supplementation line, my website, seemycells.com, goes to one of the whole food lines that I use. My contact information is on that site as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, and for those of you listening, I'm in her group as well, and get those updates. And I've listened to a bunch of her different videos, and she knows her stuff. So it's another good educational resource. So anyway, well, thank you again, Maryanne, for coming on the show. Is there any last comments that you want to make?
Oh, I just want to thank you, Dr. Jacqueline, for all that you do. Honestly, I just truly specialize in what I do, and I love that, you're just another layer or another resource with other layers of modalities and stuff that you do. So thank you. And, we just got to keep getting the word out there.
Mm-hmm.
Understand. So thanks for being a big part of that.
Yeah. It's about educating, as you have mentioned several times too. We have to educate, so people understand what it really they need to get back to their body, their health.
We don't know what we don't know, but as we learn, then we know, and it's up to us to take the next right step.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All righty. God bless you, my dear. Thank you again.
All right. Have a nice day, Maryanne. Bye.
Do the same. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.